जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रजजन रंजन यामुनतीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रजजन रंजन यामुनतीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय प्रभुपाद हरिनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की
हरे
जय जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय निताय
जय
गौर प्रेमानंदे
बोल
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण okay welcome all to our session so we are in the third session let me share the Okay. Let's go. Okay, so just to recap what we discussed last week. So we said basically material attachment is the root cause. So um, of the 10 offenses to the holy name, living a life of I and mine seems to be the most difficult to overcome. And this I and mine consciousness interferes in our chanting. So the problem wouldn't have been there if this I and mine, of course, I mean, both are considered as offenses. So living a I and my me kind of life, um, which is our whole day, the way we spend, the whole consciousness that we live in. And then if we live in that I and me consciousness, then getting distracted because of this I and my causes results in two grave offenses to the holy name, without overcoming which we cannot overcome nama parada, which means that we cannot go to nama bhasa, which we cannot go to shuddha nama, which means that we cannot actually achieve perfection. So this is the root cause and the big problem. But unfortunately, you know, when Srila Prabhupada was manifest here in this material world, devotees used to just completely surrender to him. That actually most of the devotees of those times, they just gave up everything and joined Prabhupada. And as the movement grew, and subsequently this whole concept of congregation and devotees living outside ashram and not fully surrendering, living a material our life outside the temple and outside the temple and temple seva and other devotional services. So this resulted in this is the big problem why this material attachment has become such a big issue, right? Because otherwise devotees used to be completely all the time 100% engaged in the service of the Lord. So there is no question of any attachment. And that is why Prabhupada, if you see Prabhupada's Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita purports, he just says, like, he's not talking about anything like congregation. He's just saying, surrender yourself fully to Krishna, serve him fully, full-time devotional service. What is the need for anything else? Focus is always is on Uttama Bhakti. But we are doing what is called as Mishra Bhakti. Okay, so there are multiple levels of Bhakti. So what we should be aiming for is Shuddha Bhakti. Shuddha Bhakti, Kevala Bhakti, Uttama Bhakti. All of this is pure devotional service. What is pure devotional service? Anya Bilashita Shunyam Gnana Karma Dhanavratam. Now, Gnana Karma, Gnana, okay, we are not interested in Mayavad, impersonalism, but Karma is something that we have to do for various reasons, but that should also be done only for bare necessities of life. Now, which is where the whole challenge comes, and our engagement in material activities and our attachment to them is so deep that it is becoming a hindrance in our path of bhakti. So material attachment is the root cause. So first thing is, as sadhakas, devotees we are trying to make progress in spiritual life. So this is the first thing that we have to acknowledge, that okay, my material attachment is the reason why it is preventing me from reaching Krishna. So we should first accept this, because the first step to solving a particular problem is acceptance of the problem. And many times we'll be in denial. No, 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 not for me, not for me, not for me. Right? But no, every statement in Bhagavad Gita, every statement in Bhagavatam is applicable to all of us uniformly. Right? So this acknowledging this fact that material attachment is the root cause is the first step. And then I had suggested that exercise, which we'll talk about sometime later. Hopefully, you all had some time to look at it. So here, this is where we are starting today. So Brahmabhuta Prasannatma na sochati na kangshati samasarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. So what is this verse saying? This verse is saying one who has reached that Brahma Bhuta stage, who is Prasannatma, very self-satisfied, happy soul. Na sochati na kangshati. He doesn't aspire or desire, nor does he lament or worry. So these two, which are our main activity in material life, right? Either we are desiring something or we are lamenting that we didn't get anything. A Brahmabhuta person, na sochati na kangshati. Then what happens? Samas sarveshu bhuteshu, he sees everybody equally as servants of Krishna, and then he achieves mad bhaktim labate param. The Sarma Sarveshu Bhuteshu is the Jiva Parada that I was talking about last week. Right? So if devoid of the Jiva Parada, Samasarveshu Bhuteshu, seeing everybody as part and parcel of Krishna, then we actually achieve bhakti. Mad bhaktim labate param. So which means what? Till we reach this no such na sochati na kangshati, which means that till we reach Brahmabhuta platform, we have not started the actual process of bhakti. So we are now practicing to practice bhakti. Because even when we reach that Brahmabhuta platform, we will actually start practicing bhakti for what? For actually continuing bhakti in the spiritual world. So in some sense, this is a practice of a practice of a practice of real rather. Right. So the whole point here is that real bhakti only starts when we come to Brahmabhuta. And if we don't come, we can't come to Brahmabhuta platform unless we give up this lamenting and desiring business on the material platform. So it is so critical that this whole material attachment, which is directly connected to desiring and lamenting, is our big, is what is between us and bhakti. Right. So it's so critical to address this, because this without this bhakti cannot appear in our heart. Right. So that is the reason why there is so much of emphasis on this material attachment, I and me, because it prevents us from reaching Brahmabhuta. Okay. If anybody has any questions, because there's a lot of philosophy, so you can kindly, raise your hand, stop me, or just interject whatever is possible, whatever is appropriate. So
Prabhu,
this is
here Bhakti Labate is there, no?
Hmm.
So after Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, we'll get the Bhakti, right?
Yeah.
So before that, what we are doing is not a Bhakti.
It's practice of bhakti.
So the process is not a Bhakti then.
No, it is
Practice
the
of Bhakti
process
is
is
not.
bhakti, but this is not Shuddha Bhakti.
Okay. So here it is talking about Shuddha Bhakti.
Yeah. See, wherever Prabhupada talks about devotee, bhakti means pure devotional service and pure devotee. Generally. In general, unless otherwise qualified, bhakti means pure bhakti, devotee means pure devotee. Across Prabhupada's books. Okay. Okay. Srinivasan Prabhu, you had something to say?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, regarding this Jiva Aparada, I understood yesterday also, I think some devotee asked you clarify to them. See, especially when we are working in a corporate life, we are bound to do certain responsibility and act in certain way. In that case, this Jiva Aparada, it's very, very difficult to follow. Especially as you know that the kind of politics and relevant. Yes, I can say that yeah, it is all my karma. I can take it up. However, in the long run, it's not working out. I tried my level best, but somehow other it's not working out. Especially in the corporate life, and also when we deal with our society, the neighbors or other things and all. But when we come to say temple and other things that we can able to follow, but dealing with this other neighbors, other living, it is a bit difficult to do that. So, is there any solution? Is there, Prabhu?
Yeah. So see, basically, I mean, this is going back to the root, right? Like, see, the people, the way they are dealing with us, this philosophy has to be very clearly established in our heart, right? Saying whatever is happening around us first is predetermined. See, we are always, unfortunately, that is why this, I mean, the way we are trying to live in this material world. However, fortunately, we are doing bhakti on one end, but on the other end, we don't seem to be accepting the material rules, material laws, the way the material world is working. First, we have to actually accept it. And for that, we have to have a very clear understanding of how this material world is working. The material world is working, Prabhupada says so many time and again, right? Our birth, place of birth, everything happens in our life is predominantly our karma phala. Now, whenever there is a situation happening, there are two aspects that are happening. One, there is karma phala coming, then we are creating new karma phala. Both happens, and it's very difficult to separate this unless we have that clear vision about karma and karma phala. So what happens is when things come onto us, are thrown at us, right? When the thing just fall on us, that basically means it is karma phala, which means that we didn't do anything to get it. And when it is karma phala, what are we actually fighting? We are fighting laws of nature. We are fighting Krishna's laws of karma. I mean, which is ridiculous, right? Because we will not be able to overcome it because they are so stringent, these laws. So which means that when things are when we get into situations without we wanting, like Prabhupada says, right? Like it's like that forest fire. It just happens by itself. So when some situation comes upon us without us actually endeavoring for it, it just basically means that it is karma phala. Now the whole point about free will, right, which is so important in bhakti that we tend to give very less importance to it. This free will is allowing us to now decide, okay, this guy slapped me, this is my karma phala because it came upon me, right? I didn't instigate it. Now I have the option to decide how I want to respond to this. And please note, at this point of time, I'm creating my new karma phala. I'm creating new karma phala, right? And as devotees, we should ideally be not be creating karma phala, but unfortunately we're always engaged in creating karma phala. So we should remember at this point of time immediately saying, see, what is important? Is this the reason that this guy hit me, slapped me, is that important, or going to Krishna is important? So am I prepared to actually accumulate more karma phala at the expense of losing Krishna? Oh, that means that I am so important that I don't even want Krishna. I mean, it just doesn't make sense, right? We are just bound by the modes of nature, so we are just pushed to act, right? Like Krishna says, "Kama esha, krodha esha, rajoguna samudbhava." We just want to respond. I will talk about this, right? Titiksha. It's I mean, which is why next few slides are like. I mean, if we are able to, I am also very, trying very hard to practice these in my life. But I've realized that if you're able to stick to these 4-5 sutras, the next 4-5 slides, if we can practice well, can change our life completely. Okay, but it requires something in us to do it, right? So let's park this point. So basically, my response to your question, Prabhu, is titiksha, tolerance. Okay, I'll come to that. Tolerance and tattva vibrama, right? No knowledge about how things are happening. Who am I? What is my relationship with the Lord? What is my relationship with other living entities? And tolerating situations. So some of it, I'm just giving you some part of the answer because some lot of these questions will get answered as we go forward. Okay. So basically, we are in this. How do we overcome material attachment? So the most important thing is that first thing is we need to do Tivra Bhakti. Akama sarvakama va moksha kama udaradihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. There is no other option. What is Tivra? With great force. With great force means what? Without karma and gnana. Without desire for karma, phala, material results. If we don't do this, there is no way we can achieve the goal. See, if it is not Tivra, it is basically casual. I'm just, exaggerating it a bit so that the point gets driven. If you are not doing Tivra Bhakti, we are doing casual Bhakti. Now, again, please remember this idea about climbing a hill versus climbing Mount Everest. If you're casual about it, there is no way we can reach the goal. Let's not fool ourselves, right? We are not here to get some, for some kripa siddha, right? Some major mercy came my way, and so I am going back to Godhead. But that's not going to happen to everybody, right? If we are serious about this path, first thing is we have to first make up our mind to say, okay, I'm going to do Tivra Bhakti, which means a bunch of things, right? So please note some of these points, right? First thing I'm saying, na sochati na kankshati. These are all like sutras. You just write down na sochati na kankshati. Whenever we are falling into whenever we get into a situation when I start worrying, I start desiring something, please remember this. Na sochati na kankshati. put into mark again, saying that no Krishna. If you don't do this, no Krishna. Which is why the first section of the seminar, so much of emphasis was on, do we really desire Krishna? Or is it just some kind of a dream, or like determination in the mode of ignorance? What is determination in the mode of ignorance? 18th chapter. It's just illusion, dreaming. I want, but no effort towards it. No, we should not be like that, right? So first we should desire, second we should put effort, and we do this in Damodar every year, right? Effort, Lord's mercy. So our effort has to be towards doing Tivra Bhakti, not time pass Bhakti, right? So what does this mean? First thing is we need Utsaha, Nischaya, Dhairya. Utsaha. First is we have to have enthusiasm. Lots of enthusiasm, because it takes a lot of effort, right? And what we will go through in the next few slides is going to be like a each and every moment of our life we will start evaluating, because otherwise we can't move forward. Okay. So Nischaya, we should be fully determined and patient, completely patient. Patient means what? Okay, I have lot of problems. I have lot of anarthas. It will take time to go. It is not going to go overnight. So I have to be patient. But I should know that the path that I'm following is definitely going to give me the required success. But I should be patient. I should be determined. I should be enthusiastic. So Rupa Goswami so clearly highlights this as the most important. Prabhupada in the preface or introduction, I don't remember, he says, attitude of the devotee is what determines success. So how we are going to approach this whole problem about overcoming material attachment is our attitude. Now that attitude is completely based on, this is the foundation of that attitude, right? Enthusiasm, determination, patience. I hope all of you are making points, because these are all very, very important ones. Okay. Srinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Saishnu Namani Namana Dena Kirtanya Sadahari. Unless we stop trying to be a master, how can we become a servant? Now, what does this mean? This means that in every situation in our life, we have heard this so many times, right? You've heard this zillion times, but we don't apply this. Every situation, without fast forwarding, without thinking, okay, if I do this, what is going to happen to my future? Please don't think about this future business. Future is not in our hands. Simply put, the only thing that is in our hands is our free will. And whether we are going to use it to go towards Krishna or away from Krishna, that is the only freedom we have. Of course, we might have some little bit freedom here and there, but it's worthless, right? Really importantly, most of whatever is going to happen in our life is going to be because of past karma, right? And then there is our free will, whether we want to go towards Krishna or away from Krishna. That is all. Now, if we want to use the free will right, we have to live the peace Sunichena. I mean, really, am I prepared to be a servant? Or it's just nice to hear this, oh, servant of Krishna. Oh, sounds so nice. But are we able to live like this? Just think about the servant. Who is a servant? Servant is one who comes to, of course, today people are not treated that well as servants, but ideally a good servant or a good master is one. A master is one who takes care of everything for that servant. A servant is one who completely depends on the master for everything. Completely. No independence. Complete dependence. Right? Which means that who am I? I'm anyway a servant. So what is my position? So I'm nothing, like I'm lower than that blade of grass. Then servant has to have a lot of patience, he has to tolerate, right? Sometimes master might shout, master might do something because of his bad mood or whatever. Servant has to tolerate. Irrespective of whether anybody is giving him respect or not, he has to give others respect. Now, and if we are not able to live like this, we are living in I and me world. That I am so important. So then Kirtaniya Sada Harihi Nahi. Kirtaniya Sada Me. always keep kirtaniya about me only. No, if we don't live like this, whom will we glorify? We'll keep glorifying ourselves. I am so important. I am so great. I didn't do this mistake. Isn't it? That's what we do, right? Somebody said something. Oh, no, no. He's blaming me. I didn't do this mistake. So there is no taror and there is no trunadapi sunichina. There are no taroripapi sahishnuna. Because we are always trying to glorify ourselves. Glorify means protect our position, put ourselves in the right light, whatever you want to call it. See, at the end of the day, if we are not depending on Krishna, we are depending on ourselves. It's simple, right? Like a child, there's a problem for the child. The child will just go to the parents, leave the problem with the parents, say it'll go back to play. No, it's not sitting there and saying, you know, uh, Papa, do you know what the solution is? Can we brainstorm on this? No, you just drop it and go. Like servant, problem is there. Okay, I'll leave it to the master. That's it. See, please, we should remember this. Till the time we want to keep trying, getting involved, getting into this I and me consciousness, Krishna will remain in the background. Krishna is not going to help. Only if the child cries will the parents come. If there are 5 children, one of them who's crying the most, the parents will go give attention to that child, not for the others. So if all the time in our life we are thinking I am capable enough of dealing with all my problems, so I will get involved, whether it is breaking my rule of humility or not, I'm going to try. So then we will not be able to do Kirtaniya Sadahari, because only when we are so dependent means every situation, oh Krishna, it's only you. I depend on you. Of course, then we use whatever little intelligence Krishna has given, we try. If it works, it's fine. Otherwise, we just say, okay, Krishna, it's your desire. But what we will do? We will do prayasa. We will do prayasa. Means what? We over endeavor for everything material. So what happens? Our consciousness automatically gets gripped in that. See, we should live like on the surface of water, right? Like we should not go into the water. We should just be on the surface of the water, which means that if I'm swimming, okay, whatever comes in the way, I will just try to move it away and keep going. That's it. The more we go inside, the more we will get stuck in this material world. So this mode of always being like, so for example, I mean, this happens to most of us, right? Like suppose at home, some argument between husband and wife, right? And something is told. Now what we will immediately react, right? How are you saying this like this? So somebody said something to us, we should just say, okay, fine. This is Krishna's mercy. He's making me humble. Difficult situation in life. Okay, Krishna's mercy. Right? But if we are always responding, reacting, fighting, how can we be Kirtaniya Sadahari? See, we should fight, but depending on Krishna, there is a big difference. Fighting depending on Krishna means we will just try to do our duty. Not more than that. Not over endeavoring. Not thinking that, oh, I can do it. And me and mine will come and we'll get stuck. So that is why, it is so important, put it around the neck. Every situation. See, okay, is this Trinadapi mode? Okay, fine. Fine. Amanina Madane, somebody disrespected me. Okay, no problem. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. Okay, Tharorapi Saishnuna. I'm having a lot of difficulties in life. I'm having to deal with difficult relations, bad health, bad financial situation. Saishnuna. This is like I mean, I have no words to explain. This is the most critical quality we have to develop. Okay, so just park your questions, keep noting these things. We will come to a logical, point, and then we can discuss questions. So the first thing is that, so like I said, Tivra Bhakti, Utsaha Nishchaya Dhairya, right? And then be humble. Now, for everything else that is going to follow, the first thing that I am not this body, I am spirit soul, and hence whatever is happening to the body is just external, um, right? It's just external, and I have to just tolerate this, right? Matra sparsha sukonteya sitoshna sukudakada agama paino anityas. It will keep coming and going. We don't have control over this. What we can do is we can tolerate. We have to tolerate. There is no other option. There is no other option but to tolerate. So if there is any situation that is coming which is agitating us, we have to tolerate. Why? Because if we don't tolerate, we will react. We should not react. See, there's a big difference between react and respond. If we have to respond, we need time to think about what is the right thing for me to do, for which we have to have shastric basis. We should know those sutras, and based on that, we should take a decision. Now, I will explain what that means. Right? But if we are going to react, then we don't have time to look up any database, any sutra, nothing, right? It is my nature that is going to come out. So first thing is we should stop reacting to situations, tolerate, because tolerance means that we will stop reacting. So which means that when somebody says something, tuck, we want to give back. No, it's good that, materially they say, right, count till 5, 10, whatever, do whatever it takes. Just give yourself fraction of a second to think, remember that first, I'm not a soul. I'm not a body. Second, I'm trying to become a devotee. That is why, you should wear your tilak wherever you're going, office, this, that, because at least, when we look at ourselves saying, oh, I'm trying to become a devotee. Why am I behaving like this? Okay, that guy who's talking to me, he's not wearing a tilak. So he's just like another jiva. But I'm trying to become a devotee. So whom am I representing? I'm representing Prabhupada, my Guru Maharaj, if I'm initiated, Prabhupada, up to Krishna. What will people think about me? Saying Krishna's devotees are like this? No tolerance, behaving just like other people. What is the difference? What is the difference? Actually, somebody asked me this, right? You are doing so much of sadhana. Why did you get so angry? I mean, this was few years back. Then I realized saying that, see, people look at us and say, why are you like this? I mean, you should not be like this, right? Because you're doing some sadhana. So we should remember this all the time. Okay, I am a soul and I'm trying to become servant of Krishna. And so I should tolerate, because I should decide how I want to behave, because I'm putting everybody in bad light whom I'm representing, and we are representing, right? It's a big responsibility. So be fixed in this conception before we can respond to any situation. We should be fixed in this conception, then think, okay, fine. What is the problem? Okay, somebody said something rude to me. Okay, this person is trying to do something, is trying to create problems for me. Okay, it's fine. If it has to happen, it will happen. See, that person is not powerful enough to spoil my life. He's another jiva. He's also under the control of modes of nature. So if there is some situation coming like that which is impacting me, that means that it is my karma phala. Okay, we'll accept. What did Maharaj Parikshit do? He didn't have capability to fight back his problem. Why did he just accept it? He said, I will take this as Krishna's mercy. I did something wrong. So let everything go. Let my kingdom, my wealth, my wife, everything, let it go. So that why? So that I won't repeat this mistake again. What consciousness? I mean, Maharaj Parikshit. We might not be able to reach that consciousness. At least we should say, okay, I'm a soul. I'm trying to become a devotee. Let me tolerate. Let me understand that whatever is coming. See, and another very important thing, right? Which, okay, I'll go into this. This is the most important thing. Full surrender we have to. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written this whole sequence of poems on Sharanagati. So beautiful. If you get a chance, please read. It's on Veda. It's on that Bhakti Vedanta Veda base, that software. Sharanagati, full surrender. Okay. Anukulyasya Sankalpa. So this is a framework. So before I get into this, right, please note this is a framework for decision making. Framework. And I say framework, every situation has to be passed through this and then decided in terms of how to respond, how to react. Okay. So while Trinadapi is also included here, so everything gets covered here. This is the framework. आनुकूल्यस्य संकल्पः प्रातिकूल्यस्य वर्जनं रक्षिष्यति इति विश्वासो गोप्तृत्वे वर्णं तथा आत्मनिक्षेपकार्पण्ये षड्विधा शरणागति. This is the foundation of devotional service, that we have to surrender to authority. Prabhupada says so many times, surrender to authority, surrender to Krishna. What does surrender mean? This is what it means. Anukulyasya sankalpaha. Be determined to do only things that are favorable for Krishna consciousness. Okay. Pratikulyasya varjanam. Give up anything which is going to take you away from Krishna. Rakshishati iti Vishwaso. Have the faith that Krishna is going to protect. Goptritve Varnam Tata. Who is the maintainer? Am I the maintainer? No, I am not the maintainer. Krishna is the maintainer. Atma Nikshepa. Atma Nikshepa means throwing oneself at the lotus feet of Krishna. Throwing. Like throwing means what? Like I am nobody and I have no other shelter but you, Krishna. Karpanye, humility, which we just discussed. Shadvida Sharanagati. Now, actually, we have to go like Karpanya is the platform. That is why I started with Krinadapi Sunichana. Because without that platform, we will not be willing to do Anukulyasa Sankalpa. Because we think we are still in I and me business, right? So I don't think I'm the servant of Krishna. So unless that Karpanya comes, which means that each and every situation in our life, we should be humble. Right? Of course, then there is how to deal with spiritual, like philosophical deviation. That this, I'm not getting into this. I'm just purely dealing with talking about material, how we deal with material problems. Right? So when we start following these 6 things in our life, day in, day out, every situation, that means that we have surrendered, fully surrendered. Okay, let me explain. Anukulyasa Sankalpa. So what is favorable for Krishna consciousness? Okay, I have to get up early in the morning. I have to do my chant rounds in Brahmamurta. Then, I should eat only prasadam. I should do reading like we discussed, Shravanam, reading from Srila Prabhupada's books. I should eat only prasadam. I should associate with devotees. We'll talk about that. Right, all of this is anukula, right? It is favorable for bhakti. So I will do all this. Sankalpa, making it vow. So for instance, if suppose say you have to go to a class and then um, some unplanned meeting comes up, no, which was not planned, just came up. What will you do? This simple decision has to be based on Anukulyasa Sankalpa. So can somebody say what it means? What will you do in this situation when an unplanned meeting came up? You had not planned for it, and you knew that okay, this slot was available and there was a class that you wanted to attend, and you had made up your mind saying that okay, I'm going to go attend that class, and then suddenly like last 10th minute some meeting came up. That's all. I'm using corporate because I'm assuming a lot of you are interacting with people outside, so you can apply it in your own context, right? But what should we do in this case?
Prabhu, it depends upon what is the priority of that meeting actually. So if that's the case, I do attend because official things I can't postpone. So I do listen the recorded lecture also later on.
Okay, anybody else? I'm talking about Anukulyasa Sankalpaha. Okay, anybody else wants to share your thoughts?
Prabhuji, if it is beyond office timing, then don't pick their call. Next day, tell that I was not available.
Okay. Any other
Prabhu,
thoughts?
actually, I would like to make a comment on what Mata just told. If that is the case, Prabhu, next day it's difficult for me. Then see, if at all I don't do official work properly, again whatever the Krishna conscious what I'm doing, it will get disturbed. So that's the problem.
Okay. So see, this is very important, right? There is no end to material entanglement. There is no end, right? It is this meeting, tomorrow it's something else, right? And transcend, we have to see how do you draw a line. So I'm going to talk about one. We have to draw one line, okay, which I will talk in after a few slides, right? Now we have to draw a line somewhere, right? See, if we don't draw a line, which means that we are letting our work overtake us. We should let bhakti overtake us. Now, when are we going to do this overtime for bhakti? Nobody's behind us, right? There is no boss. There is nobody sitting behind us saying that no, you have to do this much. Why are you not doing? So on one end, on the side of bhakti, it is free, no pressure. So unless we are putting that expectation on ourselves, or we are in the association of those devotees who are pushing us, we will not get any push on the bhakti side. So bhakti will always be underserved, because material things will always take precedence. Will always, and because we are dealing with so many people, so many things keep coming all the time. So anukulyasya sankalpaha. So you have to decide. So now I'm not saying what is right, what is wrong. This is a framework. This is a framework. So framework is saying if there is something which is favorable for Krishna consciousness, do it. Now you might look at it saying that, okay, now if I don't do this, tomorrow I am going not, I will have trouble at work. So hence I'm not attending this program. It's your decision, right? I cannot say right or wrong. It is each and every individual's perspective, right? Or how they want to deal with things. Pratikulyasa varjanam. Pratikulyasa varjanam is okay. This work is just eating up my time, my bhakti time. I have to sit at calls, attend calls at some like vague, weird hours. Then because of which I'm not able to get up at Brahma Muhurta. Pratikulyasya varjanam. Now, when we do this varjanam, Krishna is behind us. He knows our attitude. He knows our mindset. So he's saying, Rakshishyati iti vishwaso. Have faith that Krishna will protect you. Of course, we will not do crazily, whimsically, just one day, like put down papers, resign, and sit at home. But the whole point is that look at this saying that, it is not enabling me to progress in bhakti. This is the difference between Tivra Bhakti and non-Tivra Bhakti. Tivra Bhakti, the focus is bhakti right throughout, not material, not thinking about tomorrow too much, right? As in, I'm doing my work. When I'm at work, I'm super sincere. Nobody can point any fingers at me. But beyond that, I have a life of my own. Okay, some people call it work-life balance. Some people call it something else, whatever you want to call it, right? I need time for my bhakti. Okay, so when we are taking these decisions, favorable to bhakti, non-favorable to bhakti, we are rejecting Rakshishititi Vishwas, having firm faith that Krishna will protect me in all situations. No doubt. No doubt. But what is the criteria? Krishna says, Ananyas Chintayantoma Yajana Paripasate Tesham Nityabhyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyam. Yogakshema, I will take care, Baba. Why are you worried? You think about me. You just engage in my service. I will take care of your problems. Don't worry. I am the maintainer. So you think you are giving up a job and you are going to lose that salary, but I am maintaining. What is your problem? No, no, no. How you are maintaining, Krishna? We know that story, right? About Yamunacharya or Jayadev, one of them, right? Like scratching that
Acharya.
Yamunacharya, right? So scratching
Arjunacharya, bro.
Huh?
Arjunacharya Prabhu.
Arjunacharya, yeah. So scratching that, this verse, right? And Krishna Balaram come with, everything that is required. Krishna is always behind us. If we are surrendered, see, please note this. When we are doing these 6 aspects, Krishna is right behind us. He's holding us. That is why 2 important things here. I will protect you. I am your maintainer. Krishna is giving both promises. But do whatever is favorable to bhakti. Give up whatever is not favorable to bhakti. Don't worry about future. If you are going to worry about future, then what is my requirement? Then you worry, no. Then you are an independent person. Then you are not surrendered. That's fine. Your choice. Why? Because you have to do Atma Nikshepa. If I have to throw myself at the lotus feet of Krishna, if I am still thinking that everything I only have to take care, then what is the point? Then Krishna will say, yeah, yatha mam prapadyante. Okay. You think that you have to take care of your situation? Fine, I will let you do that. This is a matter of faith. Faith in Krishna. What does this Atma Nikshepa means? This is what it means. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says very clearly, this is Krishna's home. I'm talking Grihastha because I assume most of the people here, devotees here are Grihasthas. I hope there are no brahmacharis. If so, please, not applicable. Of course, then even temple can be looked at that way. But so many of these discussions that we are having might not be relevant. This is Krishna's home. I am his servant and the servant of his devotees. Who's staying in this house? There are other devotees staying. And this is Krishna's home. I am Krishna's servant as well as the servant of those devotees. This is Atma Nivedanam, which means what? That to believe that, see, please read this, to believe that one is the doer, giver, protector. Read all these words. I mean, so powerfully written. Doer, giver, protector, one who owns this body, house, wife, offspring, should be rejected. First thing. Think that I am the doer has to be rejected. I am the giver has to be rejected. I am the protector has to be rejected. That I own this body also has to be rejected. I don't own this body. Krishna has just given it to me. If I can use it in his service, then it's fine. Otherwise, it's Krishna's desire because he is given the body. Like when Sanatana Goswami wanted to commit suicide, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no, it's not your body. You can't do that. It's Krishna's body. So nothing is ours. We have to use everything in Krishna's service. But we are holding on to things. Instead, centering one's thoughts on Krishna, one should think of Krishna as the controller, doer, and that Krishna's desire is the main thing. One will do as Krishna desires, not as one independently wants to do. By Krishna's wish, I will stay in this world, and by Krishna's wish, I will cross over it. If there is pain, if there is rejoicing, still I am Krishna's servant. So Krishna is the controller, Krishna is the doer. What am I? I am just a servant. So I will just depend on him, whatever he wants. By his will, he will give mercy to the jivas. My material enjoyment and renunciation are all dependent on Krishna. So this whole aspect of Atma Nivedanam, which means that I'm just servant. I'm just servant. Servant means what? Servant will do. He will not take decisions, independent decisions. His decision now for us has to be going through this framework because this is Krishna's decision making framework. So if I overrule this, then I am trying to be independent. Then Krishna will let me be independent. Okay. So till now I have discussed Tivra Bhakti, Utsaha Nishchaya Dhairya, Trinadapi mood, being fixed in the conception that I am the soul and servant of Krishna, tolerating material situations, fully surrendering to Krishna, including Atmanivedam or Atmanikshepa. And Atmanikshepa means this is Krishna's home, I am Krishna's servant and servant of everybody else, other devotees who are in the house. Now, having this is the context, this you set this context, and now what we do, engage in pure devotional service, which means what? Without expecting any thing for karma or gnana. Like I said, like somebody's health, somebody this, that. No, just bhakti. All focus has to be on just pure devotional service. Now, when we do that, what happens? We will experience higher taste. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Now, why this is required? See, we should understand one thing. In bhakti, every sense individually experiences higher taste individually, which means that eyes experience higher taste independent of ears, independent of nose, independent of tongue, independent of mouth, etc., etc. Now, when we experience that param drishtva, what happens? That higher taste will push us, will give us that motivation to to do all this, right? Like, because see, all this is so much of drudgery, real hard work, right? Oh, every decision has to be favorable to Krishna, so much of hard work. What is our what is our motivation? Is, oh, there is higher taste here, and of course my goal of achieving Supreme Lord. So if we don't express higher taste, which means that if we don't engage in activities of pure devotional service, then we don't have any motivation. Oh, bhakti, what? Okay, I'm doing nothing. I'm not I'm no happiness. Then why will we want to do any of this? And we have to do this also because we have to practice austerities and we have to overcome urges. Now, these urges, we talked about, vacho vegam, manasakrodha vegam. Now, if we have to fight, this is a fight. How will we do? Not by not like a gnani style, right? Not by trying to control our senses artificially. No, if we have experienced higher taste, param dristvani vartate, then the eyes will automatically say, okay, I will give up this nonsense. Tongue will say, okay, I don't want to eat non-prasadam. I don't want to speak nonsense. Because I experience higher taste in talking about Krishna. I experience higher taste in honoring prasadam of Krishna. So then we can very easily overcome the urges, isn't it? Then atyahara, prayasa, prajalpa, right? But if we keep doing niyamagra, which means we keep breaking rules, we can't experience higher taste, right? So while if we experience higher taste, then our motivation drive, first of all, like I said, if you are engaging in 100% pure devotional service, then there is no question of getting sucked into material things, right? But because we will do only some part of the day only we spend in devotional service, if it is pure devotional service, then our senses will experience some higher taste. When we experience that higher taste during the rest of the day, when our senses have to engage with other objects of this material world, it will see, okay, this is low class enjoyment. I don't like it. I have experienced higher taste. I will stick to it. Why should I go and get succumb to this low class happiness? Like a child, if it has, like a saying, if you have a vehicle, if you have looking for a toy and he gets chocolate and he likes the chocolate more, he's happy with the chocolate. He's now just drops the toy. So we should experience higher taste, because otherwise we can't keep controlling our senses. Then we'll go crazy, which is the reason because we have so much of rules and regulations. Initially, when somebody comes to bhakti, we said, you have as much prasadam, eat whatever you want prasadam, because there should be some outlet. So this prasadam is the outlet. So but it is purifying also, so it's not negative, right? But then as we progress, we say, okay, everything should be done in a controlled manner, not excess eating, excess sleeping, nothing excess, right? Everything should be done. So for us to be practicing these austerities to overcome urges, etc., we should have experienced higher taste. So if we don't engage in activities of bhakti, pure devotional service, which engages all our senses, then we will not have the drive to practice austerities. But we have to practice austerities. So Bhagavad Gita 18 chapter, 17 chapter talks about austerities. Austerities of body, speech, and mind. After austerities of mind, first thing it says is satisfaction. You be satisfied with whatever you have. No dil mange more. Just be satisfied. Simple. Simplicity. We complicate things. Oh my God. Small situations. We just go, wind. Like with that chapati, you put it like this, put it like this, put it like this, put it like this. Take one problem and keep tossing it back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. Simple. Just make life simple. That is why simple living, high thinking. Right? So they talk about simplicity, being satisfied. Please read this. I think 17.456, I think. Speech also. It says, truthful, pleasing to others, which means that, we should not be like, even if you're at work or somewhere, not that, I show my position around and, no, right? And you should, so many things are there. Beautiful qualities are there. I can't get into all the details, but I'm just giving some pointers, right? So these austerities, because we have to practice austerities, right? Not too much in bhakti, little bit here and there, ekadashi, like nirjal, this, that, not too much. But why we have to practice this? Because we have to realize that we are not the body. So I'll give you the example, right? So this ekadashi, I was having a tough time with this nirjal, uh, right? And then my body, like next day morning, I was so, before that fast breaking, my body had become so weak that I realized, oh, okay, this is how, or it will be worse than this when I'm going to experience death, right? But like, can I still think about Krishna in this stage when my body is really weak and not able to, my senses are not strong? Then I realize, okay, I'm different from this body. I'm not this body. Body is weak, is giving heart, but I can still chant. I can still get up for Mangalarti. Of course, I didn't get up for Mangalarti. I was in a bad shape, but I'm just saying that it is possible. Right? So if we have not experienced higher taste, then we will not want to do all these austerities. And we will just take it easy. What is the easy way out? Let me do it. But we have to push ourselves slightly. See, this is why Prabhupada said this is a pushing movement. please don't be in your comfort zone. This is also one very important thing. I'm not put it on the slide. We should not try to remain in our comfort zone. Okay, if we can say be without, I mean, if we can do something, say for 10 minutes, we should push it to 15 minutes. Push slightly, little, push. Because see, at the end of the day, we have to give up all this attachment to this body and mind and all of this, right? Which we are so hooked on to today. If you don't practice these austerities or we engage 100% in pure devotional service, then we don't automatically austerities get performed, right? Because we don't have to, we're not like really, we don't have to think about it because we are engaged in 100% devotional service. But for those who are not engaged in 100% pure devotional service all the time, 24 hours, 365 days, we'll have to do all this practicing austerities or trying to overcome urges, because it's like that, a cycle which we have to break out of. If we are doing only 5 hours bhakti, then we are engaged in the remaining 17 hours doing, or whatever, 19 hours doing other stuff. If those activities are not going to, those activities should help me increase from 5 hours to 7 hours. If they are not, then it's a problem. So when we do these austerities of body, speech, mind, etc., it slightly start pushing us. Okay, okay, it's fine. I can deal with these things. It's okay. I am simple. I am satisfied with whatever I have. So okay, I can do a little more bhakti. It's fine. The whole idea is anything and everything has to help us to move forward in bhakti. Because if we get stuck in this I and mine, please remember that. If we get stuck in I and mine, then I can't make progress in bhakti. This is very important, right? After all that, Atyahara, Prayasa, Prajalpa, Niyamagraha, Janasanga, Laulya, all this we are doing, right? We discussed this last week, last class session, right? Now, how we might not have the strength to overcome all this ourselves. Then what we should do? We should associate. But please note, very important part about association. Association means somebody who can uplift us. Not, Hare Krishna, Prabhu, how are you? Everything okay? How is your work? What is your last project? This is Prajalpa. Absolute Prajalpa. If two devotees meet, like Prabhupada keeps saying, if Krishna and Arjuna are meeting, what are they discussing? Business? No, it has to be bhakti. If Maharaj Parikshit and Shukadev Goswami are talking, what will be they talking? About bhakti. So we should associate with those devotees who can help us uplift us by knowing what our weak areas are, and they should be better in those areas. If they have some weaknesses, we should be better in some areas, so that we do this give and take. So here it is very important, right, that we build relationships, very strong relationships with very right people. Please don't get me wrong, there is now nobody like a bad devotee, right? But that person has to be able to uplift me where I am. So for example, if I'm like, Prabhu, I've not been able to get up for Mangalarti every day, 5:30, 6 o'clock. He says, oh, it's okay, Prabhu, even same situation with me. Wrong association. Neither of us can help each other, right, in that situation. Then you should associate with that person who is maybe working similar to you, but who is still getting up for Mangalarti every day. That is association. But then to make this kind of association, then Sangat Tyaga, no, I'll come to this, right? No, Guhya Makyati Pruchati. No, we should be able to ask about these things, take guidance from other person. But if our false ego is coming in the way, then we will not make such relationships. Then again, my false ego is preventing me from making the right kind of association, which means that again I and me. If you have the right kind of association, those devotees can actually pull us up. Real well-wisher who's not worried about, okay, if I say this, what will Prabhu think? You might feel that I am, overstepping. No, that mutual trust has to be there. And at least one or two devotees, every devotee should have at least one or two devotees with him, with whom he can do this Guhya Makyati. And that person should be ideally advanced, more advanced than me. Right? And Sangat Tyaga, because this is the whole thing. right? Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam tayaparata chetasam vyavasayatmaka buddhi samadho na vidiyate. If you are attached to material things, if you are not ready to give up sangha of these material things, of material objects, then vyavasayatmika buddhi will not happen. Our focus has to be single-minded. What Krishna is saying, vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurunandana. Bhoshakayanantascha buddhayo vyavasayanam. So if you are not focused, single point focused on bhakti, and we say, okay, bhakti 25%, my career 25%, my family life 25%, something else 25%. What happened to my intelligence? It just got multi-branch, because now my intelligence has to apply for bhakti, for my work, for my family, for this, for that. Krishna is saying that's not going to be of any use. Eke hak kurunandana. There should be only one goal. My Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, he was saying that if you ask somebody saying that what is their goal, and if they say, okay, my first goal is, there can't be first goal, second goal, third goal. There's only one goal, Krishna, full stop. Unless we are so surrendered to this path, okay, it will go on. Sato Vritte. Okay, now I'll come to Vritti. What is Vritti? So we have to follow Varnashrama Dharma guidelines. Okay, now Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur has given instruction for Grihasthas. 8 hours daily duty, sleeping, eating, bathing, etc. 8 hours occupational duty, which also should be Nishkama, which means without desire. 8 hours. Please note 24 hours, 8 hours for other activities, sleeping, eating, bathing, 8 hours for occupational duty. And what is the third section? Third 8 hours? Bhakti. This is Grihastha. This is not saying 14 hours work, 16 hours work. Where will we take out time from? Obviously, it will come from Bhakti. This is for Grihasthas. What happens in Vanaprastha? What happens in Vanaprastha? Vanaprastha, the 8 hours of occupational duty goes off, right? For Mataji's 3 dharma will go off. For Purusha, his Vritti dharma will go off, right? 8 hours gone. So where will that 8 hours go now? Should go into Bhakti. So which means in Vanaprastha, 16 hours of Bhakti. Now 16 hours of 24 hours is roughly how, what percent? 75%? Some maths geeks. 16 of
33 plus
74.
33.
67%, right? 67, 70%, right? So
66.
basically, at least 67, 70% of our time we should be spending for bhakti. Now, which is why Varnashrama was being so highlighted. Why Varnashrama was highlighted? Because Grihastha Dharma has to have a timeline. Because it is eating up time for vritti or material responsibilities. Now, what happens is Vanaprastha, because all material thoughts have to be cut down, because Vanaprastha means disconnecting from material world. So if we don't do this, till we do Vanaprastha, our material engagement will continue, then our material attachment might also continue, unless we overcome it and, by following all these other things. At least the final cutoff should be Vanaprastha, which means that in our life, we should have some time, like age, right? Like, for example, if I'm X, maximum 60, okay, maybe maximum 65, whatever, right? 50, sorry, what am I saying? Talking like government. Okay, 25 years brahmacharya, 25 years grihastha, right? 50. So if I'm not able to finish off my material duties at 50, which material duties means what? Simple, like if you have children, you have to get them married close. Now, then there are 150 questions that come, right? What about my loan, etc., etc. Now, this is all where we are going to get dragged in this material world, right? So if we are not going to draw a line saying that, okay, come what may, 50 years, I'm going to give up my material duties. Of course, not whimsically, okay, I know that my son is like this, blah, blah, whatever, 50, 50. Some line has to be drawn. If we don't draw that line, we can forget about progress in bhakti. So we have to put a cut-off time. So when we are in Grihastha Dharma, first we should do that 8 hours only, not 20 hours. Right? And that too, that has to be completely nishkama, and it has to following the whole varna, the whole surrender process. Hare Krishna, please mute yourself.
About Krishna.
Thank you. So 8 hours only for nishkama karma, vritti dharma, 8 hours bhakti. Now, if you are doing 2 hours bhakti in a day, where is 8 hours? Where is 2 hours? Now, then obviously vanaprastha will not happen, because vanaprastha is 16 hours. Now, which means that by the time we go from 2 to 8 only, it might be like some, 60, 70 years. Now, what are we going to do after that? Bhakti is not for old age. Please, we should be very clear about this. So if you're not able to achieve 8 hours in Grihastha Dharma, that means that we are over endeavoring. Shastra says that if we are over endeavoring for our material happiness in this life, it is greed. Why it is greed? Because it is already our happiness is predetermined. Now I want more than what is determined, which means that I have greed, laulyam. So we should stick to our vritti dharma, 8 hours, just do whatever it is. Main focus, like I keep telling, so many devotees keep asking, Prabhu, how do I cut this 8 hours? I said, don't cut 8 hours. Don't worry about that occupational duty. Focus on increasing your bhakti time. If you're doing 2 hours, say, okay, from next month, I'm going to do 3 hours. Now, where is this 1 hour going to come? I don't know. I'm not the controller of time. Krishna is the controller of time. Fall at Krishna's lotus feet, Nindyanand Prabhu, your Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, everybody, and say, I want to do 3 hours. Please make it happen. I'm sincerely wanting, but I'm stuck badly. This, so many things are there. Please. We'll show the way. Then once you get to 3 hours, then you say, okay, now 3 hours, fine. This is good, but I want to take it to 4 hours. Or whatever, 3.5 hours, 4 hours. The idea is to keep pushing. See, I'll tell you, by the time you come to 5 or 6 hours bhakti per day, you would be done with material life. You'd be like, enough. Ab maza nahi yaar. No fun. Bhakti. But our problem is we are stuck in 2-3 hours, isn't it? Chanting somehow 1.5 hours. Some people do nice chanting 2 hours, half an hour reading, 2.5, 2.5 hours, maybe max, right? 3 hours, good. 4 hours, very good. 5, 6 hours means super. But if you're doing less than that, it will be very slow. Nama Aparada will continue for a long time. Like we read, right? If Nama Aparada continues for a long time, we can't achieve the goal. Mercy will come very slowly. Everything becomes slow motion. Vanaprastha will get delayed. Everything will get delayed. Okay, now I'll talk a little bit about dharma and we'll open it up to questions. Three dharma. See, please understand, as per Varnashrama, there is no working business for women, right? It's very clear. Three dharma is big responsibility of bringing Krishna conscious culture in the family, influencing the children, men, parents, old people in the house, everybody, bringing everybody to the platform of bhakti is three dharma. Along with taking care of, because prasadam is an integral part and Mataji's control kitchen, Radharani is, this one realm. So taking care of that and serving everybody so nicely that everybody should feel that, that desire to want to serve Krishna, right? So if, of course, then Matajis get into working, then, it becomes a big problem. No time for anything. Everything becomes pressure. Children don't have parents' time. What will it end up? Material, we give material things to our children and the whole thing is lost. Whole thing is lost. So my humble request to all Matajis, please see how you can get back to your Sri Dharma. And see, just imagine, right? Sri Dharma gives 24 hours to perform pure devotion service. No force whatsoever. Completely in your hand. You can design it the way you want, right? You can be completely absorbed. Cooking, You can be hearing kirtan, you can be hearing lecture, cook, then when you are serving, you can think about everybody as servants of Krishna, then do a Mangal Arti, Sandhya Arti, so nicely, and then some services to the temple, or if there are children, teaching them shlokas or telling them stories. You can remain completely Krishna conscious. No force. Like I used to tell my wife, saying that, when I was working, I said, it's so nice for you, right? You don't have to work. You can just be at home and do bhakti. Please do nicely. And please pray that I can also do that. It makes so much of a difference. We are, and of course, then we talk about, it is a need, my inner need to work. I feel worthless being a host. No, I mean, all these are wrong thoughts. So much of value that, that three, how much the whole culture can be changed by women. Okay, so that's very simple, Stri Dharma, and following the Ashrama Dharma, Varna Dharma of the husband, basically, right? Now, Purusha Dharma, I want to talk about nature of occupation, because this is something that most devotees are stuck with, right? Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radakshade ajhaitiki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. What should be the supreme occupation is that by which one can attain devotional service, which is uninterrupted, unmotivated, uninterrupted. Only if it is uninterrupted can it satisfy the self. So supreme occupation, one's occupation has to be to actually devotional service, not earning money. That is not our occupation. That it says occupational activities a man performs. Swanistita pumsam vishwaksena katasuya notpadayat yatiratim samahevaika kevalam. If that is not allowing us to provoke it, if it is not provoking attraction to the message of Krishna, if you are not able to, spend time reading, hearing, engaging in activities of bhakti, then it is actually samaheva hi kevalam. Shamayeva hi kevalam. It's simply a waste of time. Our occupational duty, it is supposed to just keep the body and soul together. All occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should not be performed for material gain. Please note this. And whatever material gain comes should not be used for sense gratification. So what should the occupation duty do? It should never be directed towards sense gratification. It should only be towards healthy life and or self-preservation. Nothing else should be the goal of one's life. Therefore, tasmadekena manasa bhagavan sattvatam shotavya kirtitavyascha dheya pujyascha nityada. With one pointed attention. Bhagavatam is also saying the same thing. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurunandana. One should constantly, what should we do? Hear about, glorify, remember, worship the Lord. Who is the protector of all the devotees? When we do all this, Krishna will protect us. Material enjoyment should be accepted only up to the point of bare necessities of life and not more or less. Because if you do less also, it's a problem. If you do more also, it's a problem. One should work hard and worship the Supreme Lord by the fruits of one's hard labor. So now if suppose say we are working, at least what we should do? We should do 50% of our income in the service of the Lord. Else, become mission oriented. When we become mission oriented, when we take up a big mission on our head, what happens? Automatically our focus goes towards it. That's why I said, if we remain in our comfort zone, then our mind will be absorbed in material things. If we take up something bigger than ourselves in terms of service, mind will get absorbed in that. Simple. So we become Krishna conscious. Okay, so let me open it up to questions now. See, now why is all this? Because of I and me, right? So this I and me cannot go if we continue to live life the way we were living before we came into Krishna consciousness, which is focus on work, focus on accomplishment, focus on promotion, focus on, I have to do this, I have to achieve this, I have to achieve that. Where is time for bhakti? Whatever little time I have, I will use. Now, if that is what it is, then how will I and me go? Because we are so engrossed whole day in just engaging in these material things with, yeah, and the world, like, it's so difficult, right? There's so much of competition and cutting ourselves out, and living very differently, it becomes very difficult. That is why every aspect of our life, every decision that we are taking, everything that we decide to do, the way we live our life, everything should go through this framework. What is the framework? The surrender framework, right? Knowing fully well that I am not this body, I am spirit soul, tolerating things, humility, doing things favorable to Krishna consciousness, rejecting things not favorable, knowing fully well that Krishna will protect, that Krishna is the maintainer. This is Krishna's home, I am Krishna's servant. This mood, if we don't develop, then we will develop material consciousness and retain material consciousness. We don't have to develop, we have enough. We will retain material consciousness. We will not replace it with Krishna consciousness. And what is the problem with that? If we don't do that, I and me will continue. Aparadha, nama aparadha will continue. And we are not going to end where we have to end. And please note this vanaprastha, grihastha, how many hours of work, how many hours of bhakti, more importantly, forget about that work. How many hours of bhakti in grihastha? 8 hours. How many hours of bhakti in vanaprastha? 16 hours. If we don't plan our life like this, endeavor at least, desire, we can't plan, like it's not in our control, but we can desire, right? So this is what I will say. Of course, there's no other way, right? Because there's nothing else but the nama. So we have to work for this, but it's all about desire. We might think about practical things. We might think, okay, this is so difficult, that is so difficult. That means that we don't think that Krishna is the controller. We think that we are the controllers. That is why it is difficult. No, what is difficult for Krishna? Free will has to be used in the right way. Prabhupada writes, misuse of the free will is the cause of fall down. Free will is what we have to desire. How should we desire? Intense greed. Tatra laulyam api maulyam ekalam. We should have intense greed to achieve Krishna. We should have deep desire to give up all these anarthas that are there in our hand, in our mind. We talked about Hridaya Daurbalyam, Asat Trishna, Tattva Vibrama, and what was the third one? Aparadas. Aparadas. Right? So if we don't have the desire, if we don't desire this intensely, we will get stuck in those anarthas. And if we are stuck in these anarthas, we can't get Krishna. We talked about so nicely what we can achieve in higher stages of bhakti. All that is not going to be possible. And no mercy without endeavor. Okay, now this is the last section of how should we chant. Now we are at 9:20. What should we do?
So
Another
how much time it will take, Prabhu?
another half an hour maybe.
I am available, but I don't know.
I am also available, Prabhu. Only thing is, it's very nice if at all we discuss very detailing instead of rushing.
Okay, fine. So we can maybe do a conclusive 30 minutes maybe on Friday if everybody is fine. But right now maybe we can spend a little more time on this topic, maybe another 10-15 minutes on whatever we've discussed so far, because I ran through a lot of things. Right,
Prabhu, one question.
Yeah.
So this Vanaprastha you were mentioning, no? Like, so how is it different for ISKCON devotees? Because is it like, no, we have to dedicate our life for preaching, or we have to increase our duration of in the bhakti in the house itself? How it is different for ISKCON?
No, so basically, material duties will go off. Then when material duties go off, then that 8 hours you will use based on what your guru and what your seniors are recommending for you to do, right? So it could be preaching. Along with that, anyway, I mean, there'll be yatra, this, that, and all will go on, right? But we should have some serious business. some serious preaching activity, or something where Diksha Kale Bhakta Kare Atma Samarpan, right? So we should surrender to our Guru and then say, okay, Guru Maharaj, how can I serve you? If you're not, I mean, whatever that is, right? So engage fruitfully with goal oriented, like it should be as busy as, like material life, right? Now, I see another challenge with this, right? When we talk about these things to many ISKCON devotees, most people don't believe in this path. Most people believe that it's okay, right? So now if you go for guidance from other devotees will say, "Arey, what happened? You gone crazy or what?" Because Tivra
Yes.
Bhakti is not appreciated. I'm very sorry to say, but this is the state. This is where we are. Tivra Bhakti is not appreciated. Say, Prabhu, you should not, like, it's okay, it's okay, sab chalta hai, do it. Slowly we will get there. How much time do we have? Do we know? So even whom to go for guidance will become a big question. So that is why I'm saying it's not a easy path. It's a uphill struggle. But if we do this right, we can definitely reach the goal. Right? So it's important to become mission oriented, be clear. Okay, if I'm doing preaching, like have goals, become very active, right? Because now you suddenly have 8 more hours or 10 more hours to engage in service. And of course, then see, when we do this, suddenly 16 rounds becomes 32 rounds, chanting increases. So all that, I mean, there'll be senior devotees who can guide at that point of time, right? It's not like we have to plan now, but the whole idea is to engage more in both sadhana and seva, both.
Okay.
We don't become bhajananandi, right? We don't just sit at home and
Yeah, it is not tradition. What is it? It was not
yeah,
tradition.
we don't do that, right? Prabhupada said, when nothing else, then at last stage of your life, you can go and live in Dham or whatever. Till we can do, our body supports, go on preaching. And like I said, chanting will increase. See, because actually 16 rounds is not sufficient. 16 rounds is just like, it's just like a teaser. It should increase. But all that will happen only at that point of time, right? And unless we plan Vanaprastha, when will we start all this? When will we get into all these activities? Prabhupada, actually, I was reading somewhere in Bhagavatam. Prabhupada says at least 15 years of the last stage of our one's life. 15 years, but unfortunately, we don't know how long we are going to be around. He says at least 15 years of pure devotional service should be there. Whether then is it 50, is it 60, is it 70? I don't know. But general guidelines, that is why is to give up as early as possible, cut off. Right? And all these other material attractions, this, that, and all that and all, we should just engage more and more in bhakti, be clear about, what these material objects are, that they're driving us away from Krishna, anukulyasya sankalpa. If we apply this framework in our life, we will get over most problems. And like I said, when we are struggling to get over something, have the association of the right devotees who can help us overcome. That's it. Simple. Formula is very simple. Application is tough. Okay.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you. Srinivas Prabhu has questions.
Srinivasan Prabhu, you have anything to say?
Yes, Prabhu. On a practical question, you mentioned about 50%, 50% donation and other things and all. Which one is better, Prabhu, for donating this one, or maybe, as you said, 15 years, last 15 years, like saving the money, of course, contributing to the temple a little bit and saving the money and take a Vanaprastha life maybe after 45 years or 50 years or so. Because to be honest with you, when I donate the money, if you see the purification of the consciousness, according to me, I'm telling, it's not so good. Provided if I do serve the temple, which is much, much better. Actually, I prefer the second option, but however, the first option also Prabhupada says. So, which is the practical way to follow, Prabhu?
No, actually, we should do both to the extent possible, right? In the sense, See, basically where this is all going, this is me, as long as we can keep our life simple, right? We take up so much of financial commitments that earning that amount of money becomes like mandatory, like it becomes, there's no other option but it has to be done. Now in that case, to the extent that we uh, give our money to in Krishna's, use our money in Krishna's service, to that extent we get purified. So if we are doing 5%, we get 5%
Right.
purified, right? If you do 10%, we get
What
10%
is
purified.
Jagannath Rath Yatra happening? Those are all people at the back.
No,
They
no,
Krishna
the
Mataji, can you
lights.
please mute yourself, please?
Green.
have all those. My
Okay. So see, the problem with this 50% business is we will never reach 50%. We will do 10%, 20%, right? And our purification will be only up to that extent. See, as long as okay. So let me put it this way, right? I'm not the right person to take a call on this first because I don't know you as a person. Second thing is you should be actually talking to whoever is your spiritual mentor, guru, guide, etc. Right? But the idea is that whatever works best for us in based on our nature, the whole point is if we can draw a line of vanaprastha, saying that come what may, this much time and then I'm out of corporate life, then it's fine, right? Then whatever you can manage currently meaningfully in terms of giving donation to the temple services, etc., you do, and then um, f- quickly move out, quickly move out, right? But if that is uncertain, if that you are not very clear or you're not able to fix it, then it becomes like a like a losing game, losing proposition, right? And that should be ASAP. Like for example, if you say okay, next 10 years and I'm gone, I'm done with material life, super, like focus on that and get out. But it should be very clear path. That is the whole point, right? And you see, this is one. The other is very highly surrendered souls, which I have not done it, so I cannot recommend. uh, is who give that 50%, not worrying about future, right? But I, like I said, I have not done that, so I can't comment on that. But there are devotees I know who have done that, and Krishna has taken care of them. Their faith in bhakti is 10x maybe more than what mine is. But yeah, that is their nature, and they've taken that route. But yeah, different. It might work differently for different people.
It's clear, Prabhu. Thank you. Prabhu, it's very nice association, Prabhu, especially very, very crispy and very clear and straightforward. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Okay, anybody else has anything to ask, or is it clear?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Prabhuji, like you mentioned, and lot of time we have also, Prabhupada also says in his books about our goal being Madhurya Bhakti. But like Prabhuji, isn't it that first our goal should be Dasya, no Prabhuji? Like, because we don't have that spontaneous love and attraction for Krishna.
Yeah.
So first awe and reverence, it doesn't go hand in hand with Madhurya Bhakti as a goal when I have awe and reverence. So
Okay, so just before I am seeing some devotees logging off already, right? So just to so that before others jump off, so we will have the concluding session. The most important part I have not yet touched, which is how should we chant, and it is incredible. And these some of these I've been able to apply in my life, and I see drastic improvement in my chanting. Right, so if you are dropping off due to lack of time, etc., please make sure that you join and you let others also, because the last part is something independent also, but if done along with whatever we've discussed so far, it will be super powerful. But even without doing whatever we discussed so far, the last part can be very effective in one's chanting. So just let other people also know. So we will do this last session on Friday between 8 to 9 and conclude. It will get over. It's not more than 30-40 minutes maximum, and we will give enough time for questions regarding chanting itself, because there are a lot of misconceptions which I've also gone through, as in terms of should we do this, should we do that. So others have told this, some all that, and we can discuss. So last session Friday 8 to 9 will be explicitly on exclusively on chanting. Okay. So Mataji, your question is, shouldn't we be thinking about dasya?
Yes.
Yeah, we should not be artificially thinking about anything for that matter. Okay. So the beginning stage is servant. We are all servants. Please understand, Madhurya is also servant only. It is dasya, but in a particular mood. So till we are able to understand that, we can simply stick to I am a servant, like, like I am not going into higher rasas of Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. That is fine, right? When we reach that, we can understand that and we will experience. That is why, see, this path of bhakti is very, very individual, right? Like it is specific to each individual. It can't, in Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada writes in the preface, right, saying that Krishna reveals. Krishna reveals from within what direction we have to take, etc. There are general rules. So, for example, like you said, Vaidhi bhakti is awe and reverence, right? But in Madhurya, Rupanuga, there is Raganuga Bhakti, there is no awe and reverence. There is no awe and reverence. So till we are in this stage of thinking, oh Krishna, you are the Supreme Lord, please protect me, please take care of my material things, etc., we can't go into Raganuga. That means that no entry into Goloka. No, this is also another important point, actually. I'm just now realizing, right? So if we have too much attached to material things, then we'll keep praying to Krishna to help us out, Krishna, bail me out from here. This is my material problem. That, so it means that our whole basis of our relationship is, Krishna, I'm a servant, you're my master, please keep protecting me, please keep taking care of me. I don't have faith in you, so I have to keep asking you. So, which is okay. Krishna will say, okay, fine, low class relationship, but it's okay because we have agreed to become his servant, right? But what will happen is we'll remain in Vaidhi, we'll remain in awe and reverence, saying, oh, Krishna is the Supreme Lord, he's so powerful, he helped me out in this situation, he protected me in this situation, which is fine, which is an initial stage that we should very quickly try and cross. Again, for that, no sochati, no kankshati. We have to come to Brahmabhuta, because in Brahmabhuta, we will not keep asking the Lord for material things. Right? So yes, to answer your question, we should remain dasya. We should remain in that mood, but quickly we should somehow, in the way we deal with our life, etc., move away from asking Krishna too many things materially. Because only then we can go into the Raganuga stage. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay, anybody else has anything else to ask or say? Okay. Thank you very much for your time. It's already 9:30. So we will, like we said, we will meet on Friday, 8 to 9, conclusive section of this chanting, and lot of very practical, very useful tips, approach to chanting. And once more, think about your chanting tomorrow morning. Think about what items, what thoughts are coming into your mind. Think about how much they are steeped in I and me, and how much of today's discussion that we had, how much of application of some of these concepts can help you overcome those thoughts and distractions that are coming in chanting. So something that all of us can try tomorrow morning chanting, and then we will meet on Friday 8 to 9 and conclude this seminar. Thank you very much for joining. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyecha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much. Dandavad pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Dhanavad pranam.